This is the U11 and 12 Goals and Objectives Level 2. At this level, we build off the habits from Level 1 and we prepare our teams for 11v11 and the big game. At the end of the game, the score only tells one side of the story of the result and how we arrive there. Without our objectives, we focus on the scorer and outside factors like officials, fields, and weather conditions. With our objectives, we leave the field with more players being able to be successful and more achieved in games from our teams. If we win without objectives, we have fewer things to work on in training. At CC United, players strive to achieve objectives, which improves our team performance and gives a better understanding of how the team works and plays. The objectives are vital in team assessment and allow the parents to understand the game one piece at a time. Procedure. Each week, the coach will work towards a game objective. The game objectives are listed in order so that the players need to accomplish them. It may be possible to achieve more than one objective in a game or in a training session. The coach will move on when the team demonstrates a recognition of when, how, and where to execute. Here's a list of game objectives. The coach needs to communicate and keep the parents in a loop as to what they are doing and what they have trained on. This way, the players can be praised correctly on both sides of the field. At this age, practice should contain the following words. Defending, I've got ball, cover, tuck in, push up, pick up, press, hold the line. In attack, time, turn, open up, man on, switch, support. These words will empower the players to make decisions and control their own games. Our coaches are encouraged to be quiet. This should encourage our teams to take control of their own destiny. In Level 2, the formation builds on habits from the 3-3-2, but we also introduce 4-3-1 and 3-4-1. Why this formation? It has a player in every zone, defenders, midfielders, and strikers. It forces our team to play through the team and not direct. Having teams play through the teams develops an ability and a need to develop passing and receiving. Wide players make diamonds and triangles with central players. It forces us to develop habits and movement from the back and build up play. And it gives us good opportunities with multiple players to switch the ball from one side to the other. With our width, it stretches the opponents. It forces our goalkeeper to play out the back and increases technical development and tactical awareness. With this formation, it forces effective striker movement and not just kick and run. The purpose of playing a line of 4 at 12 is to understand how to play in different things with different number advantages. Objective 1. Team shape zones. To recognize zones across the field. There are 9 zones in each half of the field. As play moves towards the opposing goal, the players stay connected and move up when they have possession of the ball. Objective 2. Zones and weak side. The players should recognize a weak side. A weak side is where the opposing team has fewer players. Our team should always be aware of the opposing team's weak side. Objective 3. Switch through connecting zones. Our number 2 has the ball and the defender pressures the number 2. The 2 has the choices to switch the field in the goalkeeper, through the 5 or through the 8. 5 is covered, but the ball can be switched through the goalkeeper or through the 8. This is switching through connecting zones. Objective 4. Zones and weak side. In this one, we look to create a weak side in attack. Players maintain possession in one zone and on attracting pressure in, they have open players on the opposite side of the field. Objective 5. Striker movement. This one is vital going into 11v11 and the bigger game. That our strikers can work as 2 players and not 2 separate ones. Our strikers crisscross. When the ball is played wide, the strikers change position. This pulls the defender with the 9 and creates space for the pass for the 10 to run into. Objective 6. Striker movement checking to the ball. As the ball arrives at the feet of the wide defenders or any of the central players, the striker should check to the ball. The other striker should stay high, keeping the other team's defense long. Objective 7. Overlapping into another zone. Overloading zones. The outside defenders overlap the wide midfielders to get more players into attack. Note, this skill cannot be executed unless the outside midfielder holds the ball facing in. This should be progressed to any time the outside midfielder gets the ball that the outside defender is looking to run past them. Objective 8. Overlapping and switching fields. On achieving the overlap, the player's goal is to react off pressure. When the outside defender overlaps the outside midfielder, the other team defends in the wide channel. This creates an opportunity to switch the ball across the field. The central midfielder must check backwards and look to switch across to the opposite side. It is possible at this point to get an overlap on the opposite side of the field also. Objective 9. Overlapping and striker movement. This is a really big one and a difficult one to accomplish as we combine two objectives together. The outside defenders overlap the wide midfielders to advance more players. If the opposing team's defenders get drawn in wide to the overlap, it creates space central. This should trigger a crisscross from the 9 and 10, with the 9 making a diagonal run onto goal. Objective 10. Central defending, breaking into midfield. When there is space, the central defender breaks into midfield, making an additional player. Note, on doing so, look at the position of the outside defenders coming in to cover the zone central. Objective 11. Preparation for 11v11 by playing out with a back four defenders. In this environment, the fullbacks push on and the central defenders split wide, giving us two options to hit wide. The central midfielder 6 drops in centrally, and this creates a dice shape. If the pressure is too great, the outside defenders can pinch into the penalty area to receive a pass. Objective 12. With this shape, the goalkeeper being able to play into midfield. With the 2 and the 3 pushing up and connected to the outside midfielders, the goalkeeper should look to recognize when to play into midfield as early as possible. Objective 13. Preparation for 11v11, attacking with a back four. The outside fullbacks push on and the central defenders stay at home, leaving 2 at the back. This in turn pushes the 7 and 11 onto the front line. To be successful, the team must get comfortable defending with a back 2. Objective 14. Connecting the zones outside. In this objective, we get our players used to defending in twos and connecting the midfield and the defending zone. As the 7 presses the ball, the 2 steps in to provide cover, and the 5 and the 3 shift across. This is connecting our midfield zone with our defending zone. Note that the player's objective is to cover each other and not mark players. So even if the opposing team have players that need marking, our objective is to cover our teammates through the zones. Objective 15. Connecting the zones inside. In this one, we look to connect the midfield and the defenders to defend effectively in twos in our central zone. The 8 presses the ball and the 5 steps up to cover. As the 5 steps up to cover, the 2 and the 3 pinch in to protect the middle, but they are aware of the diagonal balls behind them or wide for passes. Between the 7 and 11, they must cover the space inside and outside of the 8. Objective 16. Connecting the zones by pressing. The team presses in the opposing half with the goalkeeper covering the space behind him. The striker's job is to stop the ball getting switched and be ready centrally. The striker and the central midfielder must stay as central as possible, as this is a good transition. Checklist. Now that the season is over, how did your team do? How much did they develop? How much did the players develop technically for you to achieve your checklist? Did they understand shape? Did they understand zones and weak side? Were they able to create a weak side? Did your goalkeeper play out of the back and were they connected? Did you establish a back four and were able to play from it? And on zonal defending, did you connect all of the zones from defenders to midfielders? Throughout the course of the season, the club will provide lesson plans and guidance for you to achieve all of your goals and objectives. And if you have any questions or additions to it, please let me know. I want to thank you very much for coaching at CC United. Your time is much appreciated by the families and by the kids. Our goals and objectives are designed to give us a way of playing, to give us a CC United way of playing. Our goals and objectives are designed to give the kids to get more out of the game than just the result alone. As a coach, these goals and objectives should be a minimal requirement if your team is winning. If you don't put these goals and objectives on, you will win by having better players over having better team soccer. I want you to use the games where we are dominant to go through our goals and objectives and hold your players accountable to playing a certain way. This will not only keep the game competitive, which will encourage more to play, but it will give us a wide preparation for the next game, and it will give us a better preparation for a stronger opponent. If we simply win by having better players, those players will eventually find their match. If we go through our goals and objectives, we will have a stronger team. And that is the whole purpose behind this.